Okay, let's talk about support and resistance. So I would say that the biggest misconception of support and resistance for me, and probably a lot of other traders, is that support is at a price, which is not. It's at a group of prices. You got to look at it like that. When I first started trading, I came in as support and resistance like this. That was support. This was resistance. Okay, yeah, but how? Where's my entry? I didn't get. I didn't. It made moves back down. It made moves back up, but I didn't get an entry, right? So how could I fix that? What could I do? We had to stop looking at support and resistance as a price, because obviously here we didn't get any entries, but we made good moves in to both directions. This is a 4-hour chart, so these are good daily day trading moves, right? Like hundreds and thousands and millions of dollars, depending on what you're leveraging, right? But if we stop looking at these support and resistance as price, and we start looking at it as zones of price, like, yeah, it came here, but where did it most commonly come? Even back here, price back here. Where did it most commonly come? It most commonly came to here, all the way across, right? So if this is our support and resistance zone, right? Now we got an entry. We want to make it a zone. We can make it bigger. We want to make it realistic, because price never goes exactly where you want it to go, right? So even before we had this price right here on that side, let's move over. So that's not even there. That doesn't even exist. So before we even had that price come, let's look at how this zone would be. We know that this is the lowest, and then we know that even though this could be support too, but let's look at these wicks and candles right here too. So let's just move it up higher. Boom. Right. So now we got support. Right. Now that makes sense. Now, once we get back to this area right here, we got a pinpoint entry, barely any drawdown, and you make a good move up. So same thing with the top. If we're looking at the resistance at the top, you got this price right here that you're looking at as support. And even if you put it right here, it's still you still don't have an entry to retest. Look at this. This is your retest here. But it don't look like a retest because you're not looking at it right. That's your retest. But you didn't look at it right, right? So let's take this support line. Let's get rid of that line. Okay, I know at the top right here where we're at resistance, I keep saying support, but I really mean resistance. So everything from the top, anytime you come bouncing off the top or rejecting from the top, that's resistance. Anything from the bottom is support. So just to make that clear, if you think I'm saying support at the top, is really resistance. Get rid of support lines, no lines. And now let's look at support as like, okay, we rejected right here. We rejected right there. So let's look at support as here and all the way up to here. Let's look at support as that. Boom. So now, look, we got pinpoint entries, right? We got pinpoint entries right here. Pinpoint entries. But another thing about support and resistance is a lot of people get stopped out of the support and resistance. Also, one, because they're looking at it as a line. That's one reason. But two, they're over leveraging at that area, right? Let's say you can get an entry here, right, where you drew out your resistance, right? But let's say you're at full leverage, and you can only withstand your stop loss to be here, right? Well, being that in this zone is so big, right? Why not just lower your leverage down to like quarter of the size, and then you can get a stop loss up here, right? Outside of your support and resistance zone, right? And then when the trade comes up here or shows you something that is going to come back down outside of your resistance zone, then you can put more size onto your trade going back the way we want it to go, right? So that's support and resistance for you. Don't look at it as a straight line. Don't look at it as uh, it's at one price. No, it's at an area of price. It's people with orders at every price coming all the way up and down this chart, right? So you just know that it's more orders to the downside at this area, right? Some price may have more orders there, or you may have more market orders coming in at certain prices, or more limit orders sitting at certain prices. But it takes a whole community of people to push that price down, or a whole community of big institutions, or just big institutions to push that price down anyway. So yeah, but don't look at support and resistance as a price line. Look at it as a zone, because now you see how more accurate you are. You can see how much you can risk in that area. You can see how much you need to leverage, and wait for it to go in your direction before you put on max leverage, right? But max leverage and things of that nature, that's going to be all discussed on a different time and topic, a different video. So max leverage and over leveraging and lowering your leverage, and all of that's going to be discussed in a different video. But this right here is just like basic support and resistance. And yeah, once you look at it like that, it's so easy, man. It's not really. So a lot of people say support and resistance don't work. Da, 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 da. It's just because they have a line, right? Once you have your zone, you can understand it better. You get to see how much room you actually have, because it's easy to get wiggled out, especially when you're over leveraged, right? You got too much money on the table and it move against you. You're gonna lose it. You're gonna get out. You're gonna get scared. You're not gonna know how to trade. So, um, support and resistance. This is how you do support and resistance, right? See you on the next video.